New pickups for this week, and I've gone green. Alright everybody, hope you are doing well. Thanks for pressing play once again. I'm the man they call Pixel Paul, and this is the pickups for this week to be added into my collection. So yeah, I've gone quite a little bit overboard possibly on Xbox 360 this week. There's a story to it, but we'll get into that in a little bit. I do have a couple of extra pickups as well, so we'll get straight into them. So the first one this week, I haven't actually opened it yet. It's here. This is a one that I ordered, I think, this week, and it was from Nabbit Games, they're called. I've not used them before. They're all over Instagram at the moment. I will put the usual Instagram tags and links to the website in the description. But yeah, Nabbit Games, seen quite a few people using them recently, had really good reviews. Had a look over the website as well. Loads of decent stock, very sort of varied, Mega Drives in there, SNES. In fact, they pretty much got, something for absolutely every console. So yeah, it's well worth a look. This one was the first one I bought from them though. So I'm just carefully opening up this very nicely packaged parcel. See if I can get into it. Now this is a game that I kind of put off from buying. Nicely bubble wrapped in there as well, so very well packaged. Let's pull it out. There we go, that's looking good to me. So just so you can see it, there's a little leaflet there. That is Nabbit Games. Yeah, like I say, you find them on Instagram, and the website's dead easy to use as well. But yeah, quite impressed with this place. So yeah, the game that I picked up from them is Super Mario 3D Land on the 3DS. Sorry for the glare. It's for a change, I'm filming this in the daytime rather than at night. It's quite nice for a change, but the sun is glaring a little bit on the games. But yeah, Super Mario Land 3D Land on 3DS. Very well, looks almost brand new. Everything's complete there, and yeah, really happy with that. So I paid, I think it was about £8.20, something like that, with postage. I got a little bit of a discount off it. I think it was from JB Collects. I think JB Collects has been picking up a few from Nabbit, and he had a discount code, so I used that. I've got 10% off it. So it was about £8, something like that. I think at the moment this is about a tenner in CEX, so a little bit under. And I've been wanting to pick this up for the 3DS, just because I have got it on the Nintendo Wii U. But I've not really played it that much, because I don't really play the Wii U that much. I don't play Wii U games as much as everything else. But I thought if I get it on the 3DS, I will probably give this a bit more of a go. So yeah, very happy with that. Very pleased. It arrived really quickly, nicely packaged, very reasonable prices, well worth a quick look. Nabbit Games. Cheers everybody. So the only other games not related to Xbox 360 was one that I picked up this week. Again, I'd held off on buying this for a while partly because I'd already got it, or a version of it, and I didn't really want to pay how much it was sort of currently going for until it sort of really the price dropped quite sort of considerably, and this is the lowest point that it's got to, and I think it's part of the days of play for PlayStation at the moment, that this is in this kind of promotion. So yeah, when it got reduced to this, I jumped on it straight away. And the game's The Last of Us 2, remastered on the PlayStation 5. I know this is a very a split opinion game. Some people love it, some people hate it. I kind of get the reasons for why people don't dislike it, but I think there's a lot to like about this game as well. So yeah, I've been wanting to pick this up again. I've only ever played The Last of Us Part 2 once. I played it through once 3 or 4 years ago. It was actually one of the first games I played on my PlayStation 5, because I tried to play it on the PlayStation 4, or my PlayStation 4, and it really struggled. It was just the noise the PlayStation 4 was making while trying to run the original version was horrendous. So I kind of stopped playing it and waited to get the PlayStation 5 so I could then play it. And I did enjoy it, if enjoy is the right word. It's a very bleak game. Really enjoyed watching the series recently. Again, I can see why there's a lot of split opinions about it, but for me, it's still just a fantastic story, and I just love the gameplay of it. So I'm really looking forward to playing the remastered version of it. I enjoyed the remastered version of Part 1 as well. So yeah, I'll be looking forward. I'll definitely be giving this a go. $21.99 I paid for this, and I think that is the cheapest that it's been at the moment. And I mean, to be honest, that is cheaper than Part 1 as well at the moment. So I think £21.99, 22 quid is a bit of a steal for this at the moment. I think that's a really good price for it. And yeah, that was the point, or the trigger point for me to say, yeah, let's pull the trigger and go for it at that price. So yeah, £21.99, Last of Us Part 2 remastered. Speaking of that, I actually bought it twice. I don't normally do this, but I bought it twice because CEX at the moment are currently taking it in trade value as £33. So I thought, well, why not buy another copy of it and make 11 quid on it? It seemed like a bit of a no-brainer as well. There's a reason why I partly bought another copy. I'd ordered one copy off Argos, and it sort of it said it was going to take 5 days to arrive. And a couple of days later, I think I was in Smith's Toys, and pretty much everywhere it then had started to reduce it to £21.99, and it was just sat there waiting to be picked up. And I just thought, well, I'll grab that now, and you know what, I'll trade it in. And at least then I've got a copy in case the Argos order doesn't come through for whatever reason. So yeah, I just thought I'll pick up another copy. I had some other stuff to trade in as well. I got a long receipt of stuff traded in there. A lot of it was sort of duplicate stuff that I took. So there was a lot of Xbox One duplicates. So Trials Rising, Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, Darksiders Genesis, The Persistence, Project Cars. They were all sort of duplicates that I'd got either special editions for, or I got them on PlayStation 4, and I was sort of getting reasonable trading. So I thought, well, I'll trade those in. I also traded in that copy of Last of Us Part 2 remastered. I also traded in the PlayStation 4 version of Last of Us Part 2 because I've got a special edition. You can just see, no, you might not be able to see it, but I had the standard edition, and they were still giving £18 for that. So I've been meaning to trade that in because I have got like a special edition version of it, and I just thought, well, there's no point in having it 3 times. Okay, I've got Last of Us Part 1 3 times in a way, but yeah, at the moment, Last of Us Part 2 on PlayStation 4 still trades in for 18, so I thought, let's cash in on that quickly now as well, get that in. And I did notice there are loads of copies of that in CEX at the moment. Was there anything else? Oh, there was a Switch game, SNK Heroines. I got shut of that as well, got a £5 for that. I only paid about a couple of quid for it. And 4 quid back on that LX2, just wasn't for me, that one. So in the end, I got just under £78 for that lot, which it wasn't a bad little sort of trading haul. It's cleared a little bit of room for Xbox One, mainly a few extra slots for PlayStation 4, and most of it has gone onto this pile of Xbox 360. So why Xbox 360 this week? Well, to be honest, since the Xbox 360 boom last year, I'd not really bought that many 360 games, the odd one here and there, but I haven't really bought many 360 games just because, you know, the prices were so sort of high, and I kind of knew where the prices were, and it just felt like, why am I now buying them at that price when they were that price a year ago or whatever. It just sort of put me off buying 360. I just thought, let's just bide your time and not bother unless you find them really cheap somewhere. But I have noticed recently, over the last probably month or two, but certainly I think in the last couple of weeks, that 360 has started to drop in price. There's one or two sort of bigger hitters which I've seen start to tumble. There's still some games out there that are, you know, still in that kind of boom period price range. I can't believe Bullet Witch is still £40. It's an awful game. It was about a fiver a couple of years ago, and it's still 40 quid. But I think that is still at that price point. But there are one or two that have started to drift a little bit closer to where they were. I think Shadows of the Damned is one that's come down in price. That was sort of a £20-25 kind of game, and that's come down to about 10 or 12, something like that. So if you've not got that, now's the time to get that, because it's a decent price for that sort of game. And yeah, some of these games I think have come down as well. One that I know definitely has, but I think a few of the others have too. So let's get into it. Which games on the Xbox 360 have I picked up this time? So what have I picked up? Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag, this, I must admit. There's a few sort of cheaper ones, but there are a few that are a bit more kind of expensive, or what I would class as expensive. But yeah, it's a real mixed bag. There's quite a few here that I've never played before. I think there's one or two that I've played, but I think in general, most of them, I haven't actually played a lot of these before, so I'm quite looking forward to diving into a lot of these. So let's get into what I've got. Let's have a look. So we've got first one, and I bought the sequel to this game a few weeks ago. It was a little bit cheaper than the original game, but I thought let's get the first one before I play the second game, and that is Condemned. And that's £6 I paid for that. It's been about that price for a while now, not really moved that much. One thing I will say with all of these as well is they're in really immaculate condition. These are all from Bolton CEX, and I've been a bit critical of Bolton CEX recently, not because of the store or the staff or anything like that, but just because of the stock levels. The stock in there has been pretty hit and miss. It's been pretty rubbish, actually. Let's just call it as it is. The stock there's been pretty rubbish. The PlayStation 3 is still not great, and I've noticed that recently, that PlayStation 3 stock seems to be on the decrease a little bit. I'm certainly seeing, like, the Manchester CEX, there's next to nothing worth picking up there, and there's not a huge amount of PlayStation 3. But yeah, some of the others, you know, the actual stock levels of PlayStation 3 seems to be dropping a little bit. I don't know what that is, but yeah, anyway, so Condemned on the Xbox 360, £6. Quite looking forward to that. And again, some of these from the last pickups video, you may have seen me picking these up because I did include some CEX rummaging footage during that video, and some of these I spotted in that video and didn't pick them up, but this time I have now picked them up. So yeah, this is one of them, Apache Air Assault. Paid £5 for that one. This is one I've never played before. Quite like helicopter combat games. I don't know why, they just appeal to me for some reason. But yeah, Apache Air Assault by Activision this. So will it be Call of Duty with helicopters? Kind of hope so. We'll see. But yeah, we'll give that one a try. This one, I have actually got this one already, but this is a game that I picked up very, very early in the restart of collecting these games. I picked it up for about £1 from, I don't think it was a pound shopper, it was off a market or something like that. But in my naivety, I didn't check it, and sadly, it didn't come with both discs that you need for it. So I think it came with the install disc or something. I think it was the install disc, but not the game disc. So yeah, and it was only actually a couple of weeks ago when I sort of looked at it, and it's up here, that I realised that there was a disc missing. So yeah, sadly I just missed that, but I thought, well, for £2.50 I'll pick up a replacement copy of it, and that is Dead Space 2. Absolute belting sci-fi horror game. Love Dead Space, but Dead Space 2, you know, is really good as well. £2.50 paid for that. It's nice and complete, got both discs. I think, was it disc 1 that was missing or disc 2? I can't remember. But either way, and I think that copy as well didn't have the manual, and this one does. So yeah, it's just a nice replacement copy for the one that I've got, that I got ages ago. So yeah, Dead Space 2. Another one I've never played before, and this was really cheap. And again, I think this was up there in the sort of £6, maybe even £8 bracket not that long ago. It's come down to £2, and I think it's a bit of a hidden gem, this one as well. Mini Ninjas. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a kid's game in a way, but it looks perfectly passable at £2 as well. I'm not going to pass up that. I just thought, I've seen it before, I've seen it a lot, but for £6 I just never really thought to pick it up. But for £2 I thought, yeah, I'll give that a go now. And again, really nice condition, but it looks like quite a lot of fun, to be honest. Not sure what kind of game it is. Obviously it's a ninja type game. I think it's more of a sort of ninja for kids kind of game, which, to be honest, at the moment, that might be right up my street. So yeah, looking forward to giving that one a go. Mini Ninjas. I think there's a Wii version of that as well, I think. Don't know if it's on PlayStation 3 or not. Can't remember. But I think there is a Nintendo Wii version of it. So yeah, anyway, £2 for that one. I also picked up this one. This was £2.50, Metro 2033. I still never played a Metro game ever. I think I've got, is it the one with light in the title? Got that on the PlayStation 3. Where is it? Metro Last Light. I've got that on PlayStation 3, but yeah, I've never played this one. 2033, £2.50 for that. Can't argue with that. Nice and cheap. Again, I don't know if that's come down in price. I think it's probably been roughly around that price for a while. But yeah, nice little addition, that one. Right, moving on. So, couple of what I would sort of maybe consider as big hitters. No, they're not big hitters really. They're just a little bit more expensive. And all of these were paid for via that voucher as well, that CEX voucher. I had a little bit of voucher left from my previous trade-in as well. So that covered all of these, apart from, I think I paid £1.50 cash. So yeah, there are just one or two sort of bigger, or heavier priced games in here, and these are two of them. So the first one is the Metal Gear Solid HD Collection. I have been after this one for a while. £18 paid for that one. I have obviously got MGS2 and MGS3. I mainly wanted to get this though for Peace Walker. So there is a console version of Peace Walker, which was originally a PSP game, and I think that's really expensive at the moment, or it has historically been quite expensive, Peace Walker. So yeah, that was one of the main reasons. I just fancied playing Peace Walker, and I think I would prefer to play like a console version of it rather than play a game like that on the PSP. That's just not kind of what I use the PSP for, those types of games. So yeah, looking forward to giving Peace Walker a go, and I'll have a look at 2 and 3 as well. Well, I'll certainly have a look at 2. I was never a big fan of 3, if I'm honest. I just could never get past those flipping 2-hour cutscenes right at the start of the game. Just haven't got the patience for that. So yeah, it's a nice little collection that though. But yeah, looking forward to playing Peace Walker, see what that's like. And then in a similar vein, I also picked up the Zone of the Enders HD collection, and that was a little bit cheaper at £12. I still think that's quite expensive in a way, but you know, that's the kind of price ranges that I usually buy games at. But you know, I'm usually paying less than that. But you know, with it being a voucher, I thought £12. Again, I think that's probably come down in price recently. I'm convinced that was not £12 that long ago. So in that you get obviously Zone of the Enders and the second runner as well. Played Zone of the Enders on PlayStation 2, but I've never played the second one before. Interestingly, includes the demo of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. On the price label though, it says no demo. Now, I'm not quite sure why it said no demo, because there's obviously, you know, that's the Zone of the Enders disc, but the demo disc is in there. I don't think there's any price difference between demo and no demo, so not sure. Maybe they priced it up wrong. There certainly wasn't any variations of this game on the CEX app, so maybe it is supposed to be more sort of towards the £18 mark. I don't know, but not sure. But yeah, the demo disc is in there anyway. So for Revengeance, which is a really good game actually. I quite enjoyed Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. It's good fun, just something different for that series. But yeah, looking forward to playing. Certainly looking forward to playing Second Runner, because like I say, I've never played that one before. So that's a nice addition, that one. Let's move those ones out of the way. Right, and then moving on, we've got another game that I've not played. I played the first one and I played the second one, but I've not played Fear 3, and that was £5. Yeah, I've not played this one. I think played both of the Fear games on Xbox 360 originally back in the day, but for whatever reason I just never played 3. I don't think it reviewed quite as well as those two games did back then, but maybe I just didn't have the time to play it, or I can't remember, because I quite enjoyed the two Fear games, so I don't really know why I didn't play the third one. I would imagine, I think in my head I've always had this thought that maybe Fear 3 is a bit like Dead Space 3, in that it's not quite the same as the first two games. It's a bit more action orientated, whereas the first two games were a bit like Dead Space, very psychological horror, messing with your melon, a bit like Eternal Darkness in a way, sort of clever use of just creeping you out in a way, psychologically. So yeah, I'm not sure what Fear 3 is like to play, but I'm quite looking forward to playing that one. And then another sort of slightly cheaper one, I have played this one before, Flat Out Ultimate Carnage, £3 paid for that. It's a cheapest chips game, really. Again, I've seen this one around loads of times. Don't know why I've never really thought to pick it back up again. But this time I thought I would do flat out Ultimate Carnage. I can remember quite enjoying this one, to be honest. It's kind of just a lot of destruction, a lot of racing. Like that sort of thing. So yeah, flat out. And then another racing game. And again, I was looking at this one the other week, but didn't grab it, but did now. This is an Xbox 360 exclusive as well. Only on Xbox 360. I've never really heard people talk about this game at all, which is a bit surprising because it's a Sega game as well. But I'm not sure what it's going to be like. Full auto. Paid £6 for that one. Is it a £6 game? Is it, have I overpaid for that one? Should I have waited? I don't know. I just thought I like the look of it. Again, it's kind of racing and carnage. This is a bit different with cars with like weapons and that sort of thing, so possibly a bit more twisted metal, that kind of game, rather than sort of Destruction Derby or, but yeah, we'll see what that's like. Horsepower meets firepower. So yeah, full auto. Quite looking forward to trying that one. Okay, nearly there. Right, so this is another one which I've been meaning to pick up for a while. Don't judge me on this one. This is partly because I want to get the full set for this series, so it's a necessary evil. I've had this game before and I have played this game before. Again, don't judge me on it though. Dead or Alive Extreme 2. So yeah, I've nearly got all the DOA games now. I think the only one I'm missing is DOA Paradise on the PSP, which is more along the lines of these games rather than the fighting games. £18 paid for that. Again, I think that's come down in price. I think it was about 22 a bit ago. Might even a bit more than that, to be honest. I'm sure I saw it somewhere and it was about £20, and at that point I thought that was really cheap. So maybe it was a bit more than that. But yeah, it is what it is. Dead or Alive Extreme 2. Fun in the sun. I mean, it's got volleyball games on there and jet ski racing. So I'm sure there was other stuff. I didn't play much of it back in the day, if I'm honest. But yeah, nearly there with the DOA collection. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get Paradise. Paradise is quite expensive, to be honest. I think I've seen it once physically somewhere in a CEX, and it was about £20 then. I didn't really want to pay that for a PSP game particularly, but I'm nearly there with that DOA set anyway. It is part of the series, so there you go. Anyway, the last Xbox 360 pickup then. And again, I've played this one before, really, really enjoyed it. It's another game where it's one of those games where you're sort of like always a bit surprised at how much it sells for, or has been selling for, because it is a good game, but it is a movie tie-in, and that kind of means it's either it's always maybe regarded as being like a bit of a cheap game or whatever. I don't know, but it is a really good game, this one, but it has always been sort of quite pricey. It just seems to have held its price, but I think it has come down recently. We are waiting for a game from this character on the PlayStation. Another State of Play has come and gone, and there's no sign of this guy anywhere in his game. Is that going to actually happen? Is it going to be bumped to PlayStation 6? Who knows? But anyway, for now, this for me is probably the best Wolverine game that money can buy. It's a really, really good game based on an absolutely terrible X-Men and superhero film in general. Awful film. Apart from, there's very little sort of redeeming features for this movie, X-Men Origins Wolverine. The characters that they use are wasted, and it just doesn't seem to fit in any sort of timelines, and it's just an absolute mess of a film. Hugh Jackman's great in it again, but the rest of it's just awful. The way they use Deadpool, some of the other characters that they used in it as well. I mean, Liev Schreiber was horribly cast as Sabretooth. It just didn't work for me. The only bit of this film I actually really remember thinking was quite good and quite clever was the opening kind of montage where it showed both Sabretooth and Wolverine through different periods of war, so like the Civil War and World War One and World War Two and Vietnam and that sort of thing. I thought that was quite clever, and you could actually make a film from, can you imagine a film with Wolverine in Vietnam or something like that? It'd be quite good, that. But yeah, as a film, terrible. But as a game, really, really good. Very gory, very bloody, very violent, but kind of what you expect from something with Wolverine in it. It's just absolutely carnage, absolute carnage. And yeah, just a really good game, this one. So I paid £20 for that. So again, I think that's come down in price, and I know it's come down in price because they've still got an old sticker on it of £25. And I think even that, I think not that long ago, last year, probably this was into the 30s, I want to say. For some reason, I've got in my head that at some point this was maybe about £38 as well. I think the PlayStation 3 version is still quite pricey, I think. But yeah, the Xbox 360 version, I played this version back in the day as well. Really enjoyed it. So at 20 quid, I wasn't going to pass on that. Really happy to add this one back in now as well, and can't wait to play it. And I would imagine I'll probably get around to playing this before the new Wolverine game comes out. So that's it. Those are the pickups for this week. Very happy with that one from Nabbit Games. Really happy with that. Very quick postage, very good condition, nice price on that, and very happy with that Xbox 360 stack. It's been nice to kind of finally sort of focus a little bit on one particular console. I've not really been looking at some of the other stuff because I think probably because, like PlayStation 2, even maybe PlayStation 3, I'm kind of happy with where I am with the games on there. I've still got a bit of a backlog for both of those consoles, but I have sort of neglected looking at Xbox 360 quite a bit just because of that price boom last year. It's sort of put me off. I've been keeping an eye on prices for stuff, but nice to get a stack specifically for one console though. It's not often I do that. I mainly, you know me, I just mix and match and buy whatever I can find at a decent price, but it was nice to sort of be able to use that voucher, and like I say, I paid £1.50 cash for everything, for this lot. So yeah, to do it with voucher as well, nice. I think that's a nice little stack, nice little haul that I'm really looking forward to diving into. So yeah, happy with that. Anyway, thank you for watching. As always, let me know what you're playing at the moment. Let me know what you picked up recently. Have you played any of those games? Any of those you think I probably shouldn't have picked up? Let me know what that Mini Ninjas is like. Have you played that one? Is it a bit of a hidden gem, that one? Yeah, let me know what you think about Wolverine X-Men Origins as well. Yeah, really happy with that. Thank you for watching as ever, and I will see you next time.